One of the problems that can happen inside of code that uses generics quite heavily is that you can lose sight of the original problem you're trying to solve because of all the symbols and generic type parameters and the way that the collections force you to interact with them. And I'm beginning to get the feeling that's happening inside of this code. So here's a couple tips, a few things that I would do to clean this up. First of all, I want to make it easy to create something to model the departments. So I don't want to use the built-in type, sorted dictionary, sorted set. I want to provide something custom, something memorable, and something that's easy to use, like a department collection that derives from a sorted dictionary of string and sorted set of employee. And just by having that class definition, one of the things I can do here is remove all of this code and make it very clear that I'm working with some departments. And you'll see the rest of the code continues to work just fine because what I've created is a class that doesn't require any generic type parameters. It does derive from generic types, but we're passing in type arguments so that when someone instantiates a department collection, they don't need to pass any of those type arguments. They've all been filled in. And a little bit later in this course, we'll talk about the difference between having a department collection of T, where you do pass along a type parameter, and just having a department collection that inherits from classes where you pass type arguments. There's some terminology around that we'll discuss later, but for now, I've already made an improvement in the code, at least in the first line of code. The rest of this, still a little bit messy, so let's see if we can improve that. A lot of what we're doing here is trying to add employees to one of the specific departments, so let's try to make that easier. Let me create a method called add that takes a department name and an employee. And what I can do inside of add is make things a little bit easier. So first, I'll see if we already contain the key that's trying to be added for this department. So if department name, if it's not already inside of this collection, then what I'll do is add it. So add a new key, this department name, and associate with it a new sorted set of employee that uses this employee compare. So that's taken care of. And then what I can do is to say this.department name, get out that sorted set, and add in the employee. Because by the time I get to that line of code, I'm guaranteed to have that department as a key in the side of this collection. All I need to do is pull out the sorted set and add that employee to it. And just to make this a little more interesting, let's have this add method return itself. And I'll show you what we can do with that in just a second. So now I no longer need this line that's going to initialize the sorted set. And when I go to add an employee, I no longer have to index into this thing. Instead, I can just say add to the sales department this new employee. And I also have a shortcut syntax now, since that returns the same department collection, where I can just keep saying add. But I do have to pass along the department each time. So let me select this with the Alt key held down and type in sales comma. And that code is a vast improvement over what we had before. I could do the same thing down here. Essentially, let's copy engineering, get rid of the indexer, get rid of these department variables, and then we just need to pass engineering as the first parameter to the add method, get rid of the semicolon at the end, engineering once again here, and engineering once again here, and run the program, and we get the same results. But the code that we have now is much, much cleaner, just with a little bit of work, getting rid of some of that noise by creating our own custom collection that hides some of the details of what collections and work is being done behind the scenes. Now we have a really nice abstraction that models our departments, that keeps them in sorted order, that prevents duplicate employees, and also keeps our employees in alphabetical order. So yes, in this course that's talking about generics, I'm trying to show you how to remove all traces of generics from the business code that you write. That's a good goal to have.